How many times did you check your phone today just to see the price move? Not to make a decision, not to plan a trade, just to look. 10 times? 50? 200? If you lost count, I need you to sit with that for a second. Because that's not discipline. That's not staying informed. That's not being on top of the market. That's an addiction. And it's the one nobody in this industry wants to talk about. We talk about addiction to revenge trading. We talk about addiction to over-leveraging. We talk about addiction to FOMO. But we never talk about the quietest addiction of all, the addiction to checking. I know it well. Because I used to open my phone in the middle of dinner just to see a candle move 2 ticks. I used to wake up at 3 a.m., not because an alarm went off, but because some part of my brain wanted to know what price did while I was sleeping. I used to feel my hand reach for my phone before I even decided to reach for it. That's not trading. That's a slot machine, and you're the one pulling the lever. Let me tell you why this happens, because once you understand it, you can't unsee it. Every time you check the price, your brain doesn't know what it's going to find. Maybe it's up, maybe it's down, maybe it's flat. That uncertainty is the exact same mechanism that makes a slot machine addictive, not the win, the not knowing. Your brain doesn't crave profit. Your brain craves the reveal. Think about that. You're not addicted to making money. You're addicted to finding out. And here's the part that stings. Even your losses feed the addiction. A red candle gives you a hit of stress and adrenaline. A green candle gives you a hit of relief and pride. Either way, your brain gets paid. Either way, you check again. You think you're managing risk. You're actually feeding a loop. I remember the exact day I realized how bad it had gotten. I was at a family dinner. My daughter was talking to me, telling me about her day, and I nodded along while my thumb was already unlocking my phone under the table. She stopped talking. I looked up. She just stared at me. She didn't even have to say anything. I felt it in my chest. I had checked a chart instead of looking at my own kid. That's rock bottom. Not a blown account, not a margin call, a moment where the market took something no green candle could ever give back. If you've ever felt that flash of guilt checking price when you should have been present somewhere else, you already know exactly what I'm talking about. So why can't we stop? Because checking feels like control. It feels like you're doing something. Sitting there not checking feels like you're being careless, like you're ignoring your position, like a real trader would be watching closely. But that's a lie your addiction tells you to keep you hooked. Watching closely and checking compulsively are not the same thing. One is discipline, the other is a craving wearing a disguise. Here's a question I want you to actually answer, not just read. In the last month, how many of your checks actually led to a decision? Not a feeling, not a reaction. An actual decision: buy, sell, adjust, close. If you're honest, it's probably a tiny fraction. The rest was just noise you fed yourself for no reason at all. That's the part that should scare you. You're not gathering information, you're gathering anxiety. And anxiety doesn't sit quietly. It leaks into your trades. You felt it. You check see red, panic, close early. You check see green, panic, it'll reverse, close early. You check see nothing, get bored, force a trade just to feel something happen. None of those are trading decisions. Those are addiction decisions wearing a trading costume. I used to think the market was doing this to me. I used to think it was designed to torture people like me. But the truth was simpler and harder to accept. The market wasn't doing anything. I was the one checking 200 times a day. I was the one turning a slow, boring instrument into a slot machine. The market just sat there. I was the one pulling the lever. Let me tell you what changed it for me, because it wasn't willpower. Willpower doesn't work on addiction. You know that if you've ever tried to just stop checking and lasted about 11 minutes. What worked was removing the reveal. I turned off every notification. I deleted the app from my home screen. I set myself one rule: only 2 check-ins a day, one in the morning, one before close, nothing in between, no exceptions. Day 1 was brutal. I reached for my phone out of pure muscle memory dozens of times and had to stop myself every single time. It felt like my hand had a mind of its own. Day 2, the urges were still there, but I started noticing them before I acted on them. That gap, the space between the urge and the action, that's where control actually lives. Day 3, something shifted. I looked at the chart during my one scheduled check and felt nothing. No adrenaline, no Dryad, just information. By day 7, I realized I hadn't missed a single real opportunity. Not one. Every setup that actually mattered was still there whether I checked it 50 times or twice. The market doesn't reward attention. It rewards timing. And those are not the same thing. That's when it hit me. Checking constantly doesn't make you a better trader. It makes you a worse one because it trains your brain to crave the reveal instead of respecting the setup. You want to know the real cost of this addiction? It's not just your account. It's your sleep. It's your relationships. It's the version of you that could have been present at that dinner table instead of somewhere else entirely, staring at a candle that hadn't even closed yet. I want you to picture two traders. Trader 1 checks price constantly, all day, every day, chasing every wiggle, feeling every red and green like it's personal. Trader 2 checks twice a day, calmly, with a plan already written before the market even opened. Which one do you think sleeps better? Which one do you think makes clearer decisions? Which one do you think is still trading in 5 years? It's never the one who's addicted to checking. It's always the one who's addicted to the plan. Here's the truth that's hard to hear. If you need to check the price to feel okay, the problem was never the market. The problem is you're using price movement to regulate your emotions, the same way some people use their phone or food or anything else that gives a quick, unpredictable hit. Trading just happens to be one of the few addictions society calls a skill. But you can break it. Not by trying harder, not by having more discipline in the moment, but by removing the reveal the same way I did. Fewer check-ins, scheduled, not compulsive. A plan written before you ever open the chart so there's nothing left to react to in the moment. Ask yourself honestly, if you were only allowed to check your positions twice today, would you actually miss anything that mattered? Or would you just feel the itch, the same itch I used to feel, the same itch that has nothing to do with your trading and everything to do with your brain wanting one more reveal? The traders who make it long-term aren't the ones who watch the closest. They're the ones who've made peace with not watching at all. So the next time your thumb moves toward your phone for no real reason, stop for 1 second and ask yourself, am I checking because I need to or because I need the hit? That one question, asked enough times, is what breaks the addiction no one talks about. And the day you finally break it, you won't just become a calmer trader. You'll become present again for your family, for your life, for the moments a candle could never give back to you anyway.